There we go. Hey guys, welcome to our first team call of 2020. How surreal is that? I don't know about you, but I can't even believe how fast everything's going by. And I'm really excited for this year and really hyped up. I say this every year, and I think Amber and I both do, but like elite is going to happen for these teams, for Teamliveinlove, for Teamtcb. I'm excited to see what other leaders that we have like emerge and what other teams who are pushing for like Premier, Elite, Star Diamond. And hopefully we've talked a lot about like our vision and our goals for this year. And hopefully you guys are thinking big and beyond Diamond, because Diamond is really just the baseline of what you can do with this. And so we're going to talk about inviting tonight, and we're going to talk about numbers, and we're going to give you some like real talk, because it is the new year and we love you guys, but also with the new year comes a little bit of tough love. So that being said, in a quick second, we are not going to go talk for like all in depth about our goals, but if you could say your big, hairy, scary, audacious goal in like 1 to 2 sentences, unmute yourself and start there. I guess I'll start. My hairy, big, audacious goal is elite 10-star for the year.
I'll just go next. I was gonna say 5-star elite, but making me think I need to push bigger. So I'm gonna say 10-star elite.
My year goal is to end 3-star.
I'll go. I'm actually not quite sure. Halfway through, I'd like to be like 2-star diamond. So, Jacqueline, like, what did you say? What does that exactly mean?
Me wanting to be 3-star? Well, my quarter 1 goal is to be 1-star because I'm diamond right now.
Okay.
So by summit, I want to be 2-star, and that's half of the year pretty much over. And then I'd like to be 3-star by like December 31st, I guess.
So for Jacqueline, I would push, and probably Madison too, for Premier then, which is at least 2-star and then a certain amount of Premier leadership points. But that's where I would push for. If you're pushing for like 2-star or above, or even if 1-star is your goal, I would say Premier.
Okay, then Premier. I didn't know how many stars it was.
Eden, I see you're unmuted. Wait. You want to go?
What was I? I would say my summit goal is 1-star. I'm not sure about my year. I was just going for 1-star by summit.
Then you get stage recognition. That's important. Anyone else? Katie?
I would say for the year, it'd be like 2-star diamond. And then I'd like to know, and I need to just educate myself more about like Premier and Elite and gaining those points and everything around that. But you said if you're going for 2-star to go for Premier. So that's my goal.
And if we have time at the end of this call, I can look it up on the FAQ and give you guys like the drill down. Normally there is like an Elite Premier call that they do for Set Your Soul on Fire that explains the point system for the year. But yeah.
I actually have it in front of me right now. I just printed it out from the diamond training, so I can like put a link in the chat before we exit. It's just like what leadership points you need and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like a little worksheet.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share? Shauna?
I don't know. Okay, you can hear me now. Thank you. So I feel like, I started this before like Jacqueline and Madison, but I'm just now like coming out of my shell and trying to like figure out what I'm doing. So I want to do diamond by summit if I can, and then 1-star by the end of the year would be like a big goal for me.
I don't know. Some people just hopped on, so I don't know if they know what we're doing. I fell off the bed, so I'm just gonna be crying.
We are just sharing a big, scary, audacious goal. I can talk, you guys, for the end of this year. So if anybody wants to share very quickly. Josie?
I'll go. So I told Jacqueline that my goal is to be diamond by my birthday, which is May 9th, and I want to be at least 1 star by the end of the year.
So I'll go if I could figure this out. I would really like to be, sorry, I'm just trying to leave the office right now. I would really like to be diamond by summit. That'd be really fun. If you guys can hear me, that's all.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks to everyone for sharing your goals. And I feel like we lost a couple people, and I hope it wasn't because we started talking about goals, because there's no wrong answer. Like, there's nothing, like, you're not, I want to get it out of our heads that you're like letting me or Kate down if like you don't hit your goals. Like, we are literally just here to help you reach your goals. And so we just want to be clear about what the goals are, so we can just be upfront and straightforward about what it's going to take to get there. Because I feel like I have done a little bit of a disservice by being like, you just share and post and it's cool, and then you're going to hit diamond like I did. Like, it takes work, and it's not bad. Like, if you guys listened to Courtney's call today, I was listening to it while I was like, literally, I'm going to get back to this, but priority, I make the call to priority. I was driving, and then I took it into the grocery store and was just playing it in my pocket like a crazy person, because that's how dedicated I am to listening to the calls. Or, not always live, but I listen to them recorded. But if you listen to her call, I loved what she had to say about, oh my God, I'm doing the ultimate reset. I'm going to lose my train of thought. I just loved her call. So make sure you listen to it. But the point is that, we just want to like help you guys reach whatever goals that you're going to want to reach. And I want to be like upfront about the amount of work that it gets. Oh, I know what I was going to say. That it should be fun. Like no matter what your goals are, you should be having fun where you're at. And if you're not having fun, then maybe you need to readjust your goals or just get more clear about like what you can do to have fun in the business. But we just, as your mentors that have big goals ourselves, we just want to be realistic. So if you're saying to us, you want to hit diamond, then we just need to have a conversation about what that looks like as far as inviting, which we're going to get into, like what that really looks like how many people do you really need to be inviting and bringing into the business. Yeah, I don't know if you had more to go off of Kate after they had share their goals.
So I wanted to start there, and then so with that, you guys, one thing that I really hope that you take into this year is the commitment that you make to your business. And if you're telling your coach, your upline, your business mentor, if you work with somebody from corporate, if you like are getting the help from people, that you stay committed to your goals. And you, like, everybody chose their word for the year on the last Set Your Soul on Fire call. Can everybody like type theirs in the chat? I would love to read like your word for the years. Mine was commitment. And this is like commitment to my business, commitment to my fitness, commitment to this guy, commitment in general to like showing up. So I see growth, authenticity, flourish, acceptance, fearless, powerful. I love this. But yeah, freedom, fearless again. That's a good one. Jacqueline, she doesn't like her. Someone doesn't want to accept her word.
I took like a really lengthy quiz. It was like a 30-question personality quiz in order to get my answer, my word of the year, and I got acceptance, and I was like, no, I don't want that one. I was like, all right, I guess I'll start here.
So I really want you guys to think about those words and really what they mean to you, and just your commitment to your business, and say, I'm going to be here a year from now and I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. And like I said, we've all fallen short on goals, and that's nothing to beat yourself up about. That's nothing to get down on yourself. That's nothing to feel bad about. I can't tell you how many goals I've missed, But one thing that I really like that Amy said on that last call last week was that if you're setting these goals, like set something that you're going to show up for and that you are going to commit to and that you are going to work for. So that's what we're kind of asking of you guys with those end year goals or summit goals. I like that you guys are setting summit goals because it's going to come up so quickly. Like, how is July just around the corner? How is Rowan turning 4 months old in just a couple days? Like, it really is going to fly by. So, and it's cool because there is, Amber, I know you just looked this up the other day, and the qualification for Summit for like Star Diamond ranks. Do you have that, or Jacqueline maybe? Because I think it was for Jacqueline.
I remember I was looking it up for Jacqueline, but I don't know if I found it. I don't think it was out yet.
Okay.
Or maybe when I looked, I couldn't find.
I think it's only 6 weeks before the event. So
I was going to say, I thought it was a month before.
Okay. For Star Diamond qualification, I know for Diamond, it's normally like a month. For Star Diamond, it's at least 6 weeks because you have to start that qualification and hold it for 6 weeks. So that being said, I would, if for those of you guys who are like, I want to be 1 star, 2 star by Summit, I would write out like 2 months before and put that on your calendar because that's going to give you a little bit of grace period. Like, so if you miss it, you're like, okay, I still have a couple weeks, and like we'll get clear on those dates soon, but just so you know. And it's probably, there might be an FAQ for it somewhere. I haven't really searched, to be honest, but then you're giving yourself a grace period for that. And Jacqueline linked the awesome Elite and Premier Goal Guide, so we can go over that maybe after we touch on other stuff, because that I just want you guys to know what Premier and Elite is for those of you who are interested in going for it. Because even if you're like a coach rank right now, there are so many coaches who go from coach to elite in a year. So really don't like undermine what you can do in a year and also what you can do over this next decade. But I wanted, Amber, do you want to talk about the little key part from the Melanie Mitro thing, and then we can share about inviting and numbers?
Oh, I was unmuted the whole time. I thought I was muted. Sorry if my baby was slamming things around. So you guys can, I've shared it in Teamtcb, and you guys can go look at Melanie Mitro's podcast. I like her podcast because it's usually like 30 minutes or less, and it's business minded, but very like, you know, because she was like a top 10 coach 4 years in a row or whatever, and been in the business for 8 years. A lot of it pertains to Beachbody. But she was talking about reverse engineering her own goals and how she was talking about her own goals and then how to make your own goals. But her goals were how like 2 new 5-star diamonds come from her downline. And she said that statistically, 1 in 100 coaches are going to have the same fire and like get it and like show up and like do all the things and like fight for it and, you know, like not let life get in the way. So if you think about that, if you break that down, you need to be recruiting, you know, at least 100 coaches, which could seem really scary. And some people don't need to recruit that many. Some recruit like 50 coaches and they find their 5 diamonds and they get to elite. But for Melanie Mitro to say that, for being 8 years in the business, like I definitely trust her. And I was having a conversation with Jacqueline about this because she's got, I forget how many coaches she's got, but she was talking about, you know, she's got her 2 emeralds and who she wants to help rank advance, and how, and this is something everyone's gonna, 20, okay, she's got 20 coaches. And how sometimes people come into the business and they say, oh, I want to work, and then they fall short, or they, you know, change their goals, or they change their mind, or they go away. And it's frustrating if you're building for Diamond, and you've got 20 coaches. I'm just using Jacqueline as an example now. This is not what she said, but so say you've got like 20 coaches and you're really trying to get somewhere, or you have a couple coaches quit. I know Madison had 2 coaches quit recently, and that was really frustrating. So I went and looked, and I think I have like almost 200 coaches, and they're not all doing anything. Look how many people are on this call. I mean, I tagged all of my coaches that are active on Facebook, and this is how many people showed up. And I know that not everybody can show up, but I just want to put it in perspective that you're going to have to talk to a lot of people to get somewhere. Does that mean, so I haven't reached my goal of 5-star, but I still made pretty good income and I still hit Success Club every month. And so there's been lots of positives in that way. But that statistic really stood out to me, 100 coaches to find your one. Like, wow, that made me realize like how also to flip it, how lucky I am that I have this many people on this call too, so you can look at it both ways. Like, wow, like you guys all showed up. That's amazing. But out of everyone that I sign up every single month, some of them tell me they want it and then they just, I don't know where they go. So it's not a reflection of like me or you as a leader, but just, I think, a wake up call to, if we're consistently hitting Success Club and inviting to the business and our challenge groups, because we can also get someone signed up with a challenge pack and a new coach same time. So it's like double whammy, Success Club and new coaches. Then you're going to grow over time. And it's not like a definite guarantee how fast this is going to happen, but you really, if you want to get to diamond and you want those 100 coaches and one of those people is going to be your diamond to help you get to 1-star, then you need to be talking to like, I think it was like inviting like 4 people a day. So Melanie just reverse engineer, like, okay, that's 20 people a month, 25, I can't do math, but how many people a month, how many people a day, or how many people a week or whatever. So, and that's okay if you want to break it down and just do 1 a day. And maybe you're starting out where you're going to be, you're not looking to, your goals aren't that high, but you just need to like look at where you want to be and then think of it that way. And it made me realize like we all need to just be shooting higher, really. And if we are still like, if you're brand new, I get it. But if you've been coaching for a little while and you're still hung up on being scared to invite or nervous what people are going to think about you, these are all things that we all go through. But then it's up to you to like do a little bit of work around that. Like go do look into some calls, like look into some personal development around it. Like, because if that's what's holding you back, then it's just up to you to like kind of push through those barriers. And I'm going to say it again, but it's really important to get on the team calls, or at least watch the recordings. So like we have ours, and then there's Set Your Soul on Fires, which I can never seem to get the time right. Like today I watched the recording because I don't know what time it's at, but it's usually posted. And then the National Wake Up Call. So, and I've been doing this since I worked full time. Like, and now that I'm from home, it's not like, oh, I get to do this now because I'm just like at home. Like this was something I prioritized driving, whenever I was folding laundry or cooking dinner. I tuned in to Kate's calls every single week. When I was a new coach, or for the first, even when I was hosting my own call for a while. We didn't even combine calls until like a year ago or something. So like there was times where I was on like 4 or 5 calls. So anyways, I just don't want you guys to get like overwhelmed with the amount of training that's out there. Just prioritize on the 4 vitals, which Courtney talks about in that call today. And then just our team call and Set Your Soul on Fire and National Wake Up Call. And I really do think that if you are doing your 4 vitals and tuning into those calls, you're going to see a big change in your business, because your mindset's you can't help but your mindset get shifted. Like you can't help it. If you're listening to these people, you can't help but get fired up. And I really think like we have an ongoing chat it's open to anyone on the team, but right now there's just a few of us like in there chatting. And I think it's been really helpful because as questions come up, we're just like, you don't have to wait to get on a one-on-one with me or remember to post in the group or remember to go like look it up. You can just ask the chat. So if you're not in a chat like that, you can get in mine. I'm sure Kate would run one for you guys. Yeah, like we want to be here to help you. I'm going on a tangent right now, but basically, it was just an eye opener to think about 100 people to get your one. And I just want to put it in perspective. So then we realize the amount of work that it takes, not to scare you, but to just make you realize that it takes time to build that. And, but it's up to you how fast. It's time, but it's also just like numbers. So you can like get there as fast as you want. But if you're dilly-dallying and doing like 5 invites a month, then you can see how like longer it's going to take you, which is fine too. But then you're more likely to burn out, I think. I think you're going to be like, I'm not getting anywhere if you're only inviting that little. So that's my spiel.
And I do have one of those chats going for my coaches too. So if you're watching the recording or you're new, I can add you to it. And P.S. I'm really hoping I don't accidentally show you guys my boob. I just had a baby who just woke up, and so I'm feeding him. But if he hears me talking, he normally pulls back like he's doing now. Okay. Anyways, Rowan, we're just going to take a quick break so I don't flash all these lovely people. And I'm going to do this because there's a good chance he's going to irp. Anyways, mom life and running your own business and working from home. So you guys get to hear me burp, Rowan. But so now I want to talk a little bit about the different kinds of invites because there are multiple kinds. And a lot of the time when we hear the word invite, we get nervous, we get anxious. There's fear around inviting. There's fear around hearing no. And one, I really want to suggest, if you have fear around rejection or hearing no, like you have to get over that because you're going to hear it a lot in this business. That is just the business that we are in. That is just any business, like any job that you have. If you've worked in retail or sales, like people are going to say no, people are going to say not right now. So you just have to get familiar with it. One book that I read as a new coach that I really liked was Failing Forward. I can't remember the author right now. And then the other one that I really liked was Go for No. And these helped me get over my fear around rejection and my fear around no, because that was definitely very present as a new coach. But if you let those fears dictate how much work you do, or actually like skipping the invites, you're like, well, I'm posting, well, I'm talking about what I'm doing this, and this, but you're not inviting, you're missing the mark. Because the invite, I like to say your social media is your storefront. And that is where people see what you're doing. That's why it's important to share what you're doing. It's important to share your workouts, your nutrition, why this coaching community is so awesome, just ways that Beachbody is changing your life. But with that being your storefront, a good sales team, when you walk in, greets you. And then the invite is like the behind the counter service. And that's asking someone what they need help with. How can you help them by the groups that you run, by coaching? Because fitness is only the baseline to what is possible in this business. Like, I really liked what Amy said on the team call last week, and that call just got me fired up. So I'm gonna keep referencing it. I still have to watch the one with Courtney tonight. He was just having a rough night earlier, and that didn't happen. But I always watch recordings too. I make all of those calls a priority. Hi. Anyways, so where was I going with this? Amy said, like if your goal is to help people, that's great. But you can help people by giving them this opportunity as a coach. You can help people by making a large impact with your coaching business, by going diamond, by going star diamond. Like the amount of people and the ripple effect that is like caused from this business is huge. So if your goal is you want to help people, you have to get more specific than that. And then think about the impact, how you can help people with the magnitude of this business. That being said, so the different types of invites. The invite, there is like what I call the soft invite, aka your posts, which are like your call to actions. These are sharing a transformation or talking about coaching, or talking about your challenge group and saying, my next group is starting here. My coach sneak peek is starting here. I'm looking to mentor this many women. That is a soft invite. That doesn't count towards your daily invites. An invite is like when you message someone, inviting them to join your group, your coach sneak peek coaching, whatever. However, there's a right and wrong way to do this. There is the, hey girl, like be super spammy, like I really suggest like forming people and getting to know people a little bit more, and not necessarily spending too much time forming, but like having a conversation, an ongoing conversation or some sort of rapport with someone before sending the direct invite, because it can be like really spammy, and it can be like a bunch of other multi-level marketing companies, and people can feel, I think it's hard because people feel I think people are too sensitive these days, honestly. Like I just saw this mom thing the other day on one of the Instagram accounts that I follow, saying multi-level marketing companies targeting moms for weight loss, like was cyberbullying. And that made me really sad. And I was like reading it, but I was reading some of like the comments and they posted examples that their followers had sent to them. And I was like, okay, I would never say this. I would never target a mom and say, you need to lose weight, or do you want to lose that baby weight, or whatever. Like, that was disgusting and that was gross. And I wouldn't call it cyberbullying. I don't think it's that far. However, if you are like deep in postpartum depression, like I can't, one thing that I've realized with being a mom is like everybody's experience is different. And just like anything else, like what you say is, and how somebody reacts to what you say isn't necessarily about what you say if you're saying the right thing. It's about what they are hearing in their brain based off of their previous experiences. That being said, always leading with being polite, with being authentic to yourself, having like an authentic message, having an authentic voice, and not just like copy pasting. So I'm going to talk about different ways to invite and like talking to people, but know that like you want to be authentic to yourself, and also like not spammy and not rude. I literally get so many messages. It's so annoying, from other multi-level marketing companies. Like one today that was like, hey girl, I thought you'd be great at, doing what I do. Have you ever thought about it? And I looked at her profile because like it's never other Beachbody coaches. It's like Arbonne, whatever. I don't even know half the other things out there. Zaya Active was a recent one too. And I looked at her profile. Her profile's private. And like, I was like, actually, I'm assuming what you're doing is multi-level marketing, but based off of your very vague message and your private profile, I have no idea. That being said, if you actually did look at my profile, you'd realize I'm a Beachbody coach and I've been coaching for 6 years. It's my full-time career. And between that and my son, it keeps me very busy and I'm very happy. Thank you very much. That is an example of like the message I would never send to somebody. Have you seen what I'm doing? If like somebody likes my post about coaching, I'm like, hey girl, I saw you liked my post about coaching. Thank you so much for supporting my post. I really appreciate it. Have you ever thought about doing what I do as a coach? But before this, I look at their profile. I make sure they're not a coach. I make sure they're not with another MLM, because even though that's literally like a marketing, that's how shitty some of these companies are. Not Beachbody, because we're rated an A++ with the Better Business Bureau. Our team has always been super just authentic and done this the correct way, and shared this in a very good light. But there are shitty people who are just like, hey, join my thing. And then they don't look and they see you're already in a form of direct sales. And then like, that's literally their marketing thing. When I've said, I'm a Beachbody coach, like I've seen you look at my post or like my post about it. They're like, I know, but that's why I reached out. I'm like, you're an asshole. Bye. Again, people are too sensitive. I could be too sensitive too. It's not even that I'm too sensitive. It just annoys me because I'm like, common courtesy, be polite, please. Anyways, back to the invite. So an invite, that's what I consider an actual invite. However, that being said, you can actually have an in-person invite too. And I really encourage you guys to like get out and talk to people about the business and know what you're going to say about your business. So when somebody asks you what you do, when I worked at Starbucks, I used to say, oh, I work at Starbucks part-time as a barista, but I actually run a home-based fitness and wellness business that I help women reach their goals. So like having that little thing so you can talk to people in person as well, because that's an invite too. So when you're getting your invites in, you can talk to people at pickup for your kids, at the grocery store, at wherever, parks. I don't know what your life is. Work, if you work in different things. Like I remember when I worked at the mall, I used to talk to women. I would walk around the mall before, after my shift, because Amy had me like, when I was a new coach and pushing for Diamond, she's like, okay, I want you to invite and make 50 new connections a day. And I was like, I was really intimidated by social media at that point. And so I went around doing it between working at the mall and after my shift and during my shifts. And then I would do it on social media as well. So I want to really touch on that very quickly, that inviting in person as an option too. But I wanted to share my screen because in Team Live and Love, which everybody is always welcome to join, there is a little folder in there that talks just about different kinds of inviting. So this is something to remember. Inviting. Everyone does it. You're not a creep. You have something incredible to offer and you know it works. This is the biggest gift you can offer. You can change a life. The worst thing that can happen is they say no. The more you do, the easier they get. The more no's you get, the more you learn. If you don't, somebody else will. Your market are not mind readers. So I want to touch on a couple of these things really quickly too. It's like if you had a birthday party and you told people about it, but then nobody showed up because you didn't actually invite them. I like to think about this business as the same thing because it is such a gift. You never know how it could change somebody's life. If Amy wouldn't have invited me multiple times, if she would have gone off that first no that I told her, because I told her no several times before I came back around and said yes, my life wouldn't be here. And I mean, maybe Amber would have found another coach, like who knows, but like talking about the ripple effect, thinking about that. So never feel bad about inviting, especially if you're being very authentic about it. You're talking about how it can change your life, not basing it off of like weight loss or being like an internet asshole. But you're just being authentic and authentic. You like feel good about that. And again, if you are really nervous about inviting, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And you have to invite people because this is like the shittiest feeling, and I've had it happen. Even if you talk about the fact that you're a coach, even if you think you are very, very obvious about the fact that you're a coach, like people may not know it. Like the reality is with the algorithms and everything on social media, you have to keep saying it. You have to keep reminding people. It takes people multiple times seeing something to remember it, to realize it, for it to click. But I've had it happen multiple times. There are people I went to high school with or people who I thought about inviting, but maybe I was nervous. I thought they would be a great coach. And then I never invited them because I let fear get in the way. I've seen them sign up as coaches under other people. And that is like a shitty feeling. And I'm like, if I would have just done that invite, if I would have just like made that move, they would be on my team. I mean, there's always the thing that maybe they weren't the right person to work with me. I think people are going to work with who they want to work with. But I think that's important to remember. So if you have a business page on Instagram, I mean, any of your Instagram fitness pages or Facebook business pages or Instagram. This is just like, hey girl, this is Bonnie from Bonnie Angle Fitness. This is from her, by the way. This is from a couple years ago. I was trying to find a more updated version. But like if somebody likes your page, you can say, I see you like my fitness page. This is my personal page where I share more about me. I see you have a lab too. So cute. I wanted to let you know I'm not just a weirdo. I love connecting. Yes, you're gorgeous. Ever thought about being a Beachbody coach? So that's even like, I would, again, make this my own, but these are just examples of talking to people. You think they'd be great in working from a list. So everybody knows somebody who you think would be a great coach. There is no issue, like I said, in connecting with them, informing them and talking to them, and then asking them if they want to do what you want to do. So these are like some examples of doing that. But again, remembering that if you don't invite somebody, somebody else is going to. And then when people want more details about coaching and how to get started, we all run Coach Sneak Peeks. So you can plug people into there. You can get somebody on the phone and do a 15-minute phone call or even like a 10-minute phone call. I used to do these all the time, and I think I'm going to get back to it. It's just hard with the new baby, but I had a really good closing rate, especially even with challenge groups when I would get on the phone with people. If somebody has questions, get on the phone, look it up on the Coach FAQ, ask your coach. Maybe your coach is willing to help you and do a call with you for somebody interested in coaching. Just don't feel bad about getting on the phone. And then a current challenger would make a great coach. There's that. And so somebody likes your post about coaching or a challenge group. I'm sorry if my words are all over the place. He really hasn't been sleeping much at night, so I'm really running on caffeine right now. But like, these are just some examples of forming and then adding the invite in there. And again, if somebody's going off of liking your post or liking your thing talking about coaching, I would never feel bad about that because they're showing interest. Whether it is intentional interest or not, you're planting the seed. And again, remembering you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. So that being said, the people that you're going to invite, if they are ready to join you, if they're interested in what you do, you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. So you don't have to worry about being perfect. You don't have to worry about messing up. Like, you're still learning, you're still moving forward, but you have to invite. You can't just build a business off of attraction marketing. Like, you can, but it's not going to be as fruitful and as growthy as you can. Like, inviting and following up and just telling people about this is very important, because again, you never know, if you don't invite somebody, somebody else will. And how shitty would that be? And I've had coaches reach out to me too, and I've seen it happen and be like, oh, I forgot to invite somebody. And then I forgot. I was scared to invite somebody. And then they signed up with a friend, and it's like their sister or their cousin or something. And I'm like, why didn't you? Okay. Anyways, so different types of inviting, obviously sharing, social media posts. You can do it on your stories, talking about it on your stories. But again, the actual invite, like when you're counting those 5 invites a day, 4 invites a day, however many invites you're doing, that is the messaging, the person that is inviting them to your challenge group, to coaching, to whatever it is that you are talking about.
I just want to chime in really quick and say the thing about if you don't invite them, someone else will. There's been several times over the years that I have invited someone, they've joined the challenge group, and after they bought the challenge pack, they're like, oh yeah, I love watching you and so doing the workouts, like talking about my other coach. And then I'm like, ugh, you know, they like know, like they could have signed up with I would have rather my coach sign them up, honestly. Like at this point, I want my coach's Feeding Success Club. And then I'm like, well, they didn't invite them, you know, or they didn't make it clear enough. Like they were showing up and sharing, but they didn't actually ever ask that person, I guess, unless the person's just shady and, you know, I don't know. But that's happened to me before. So, you know, obviously if it's beforehand, if they're like, oh, I've been talking to you and Loea or something, I would be like, cool, go, Loea will get you signed up. Like I always redirect people, like if they tell me before. But yeah. Say that.
Does anybody want to share any invites that have been working for them? I know Eden does something cool, and I'm calling her out because she's here. And she has done a video invite, because this is something that feels authentic to her, and she's gotten a better response from, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I actually started a new system recently so one of the things, I think you can just do whatever, but like I wanted to focus on being was talking about being social on social media. Like I think it's so easy just to creep, or the majority of people creeping, like to help engagement and stuff like that. So I have been messaging people that's like, hey, going into 2020, I really want to focus. I'll share the message in the little chat, but I'll send them that within a GIF, and then they'll reply like, oh, that's really great. Like, yeah, like, how are you? And then I send them video messages, and I've been connecting with them that way and building relationship. And 90% of the time when you're like getting to know somebody, they're going to ask you what you do for work. And right now I'm going to run a sneak peek actually into our wellness group. And I think I got like 30 people going in there just from doing that. Just being like, oh yeah, and if you're interested in this, I have a sneak peek into the wellness group about what I do, so you can see if it's for you. And I feel like that's a really easy way. But when you do a video message, they just connect with you a lot more. They get to see you talk. It's just different. And so I always get a really good response from that. So that's what I've been doing.
Eden, when you said you invite them, do a sneak peek into your wellness studio, is that what you said? I don't know if you said that exactly. Do you mean that?
Yeah, so I decided instead of doing like scripts in an email that I was going to set up like we do coach ones. So I'm going to do my coach workshop on Instagram, which I'm setting up, and I'm doing the 20th and the 20th. I muted myself. Those days, so this week, starting on the 13th, I'm going to do 3 days, and it's basically going to be like the scripts, but live videos. So like going over everything that you would in a script with somebody, but just live videos with engagement. And I'm doing it with my coach as well as Kelly, who I do the Optimal Wellness Studio, and 2 of her coaches, and see how that works. I think sometimes it's a lot easier if you tell somebody there's something free that they can access rather than getting them an email. I always struggle when I get some people an email, so I'm going to try it this way.
I had a question. When you send the videos, are you doing it obviously over Instagram? Is it like cold market, or like how do you, I guess, start that?
Here, let me show you. I'm gonna just share my phone. Let me find one first, and then I'll share my phone. But yeah, it's just, so it's not, I mean, yeah, I don't know the majority of the people personally yet. Let me find a message, a good example. Here. Let me see. Whoa, she talks a lot. Okay, here's a good example.
Hi,
Liz, you dropped it. Okay, can everybody see this? So on this, oh, no. What happened? That's my computer screen. I want to share my phone. Try one more time. Okay. There you go. Does that work? So I sent her this on December 11th. And then we just started doing this. So I'll send her a video. This was just getting to know her and talking, and we just video messaged back and forth. And then she started sending video messages. And now we've been talking so much, and she's somebody I've invited through video message to the sneak peek that I'm doing. But we just been talking. That's like, so that's what I've been doing, sharing stuff. But just going in with a message that is just kind of like you, and I feel like this is very me, has helped a lot, and just getting to know people. And then I just video message back and forth. So I guess there's not just like a single message that I can show you. That's probably just me talking to her about something random, but, and I'll even send them an invite that way too. But like when you do it that way, I'll be like, you know, it's just like nonchalant. It's just who you are. It's just like having a regular conversation. So like when Kate's talking about like imagining if you're out in public and you're talking to someone or you're talking to your best friend, that's just the kind of way that I've been handling it. And then having something free for them to access just seems to be more seamless for me.
I freaking love that. I really, like, I'm stealing that. I love it. That's really unique, and that's such a great idea.
It's really easy. And I just think that people appreciate to hear your voice and see your face and get to know you as far as building. And then, like I said, 90% of the time when you're talking to someone, I always ask them like, oh, you know, like, so all the fun questions, where do you live? What do you do for work? And then of course they reciprocate, what do you do? And then like you talk, and I don't ever immediately invite them to anything. It always will come up with like, oh, that's really interesting. So like, what's that like? And then I'll mention that I have this going on. You should totally join that. But that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to say super consistent with it.
And what I like about that too is, again, and inviting shouldn't feel spammy. If it feels spammy, you need to check like what you're saying, how you're doing it. And if what you're saying and how you're doing it is authentic, then you need to like check on your inner dialogue and see like why it feels weird to you. I like to think about all the reasons Beachbody has changed my life and think about all the ways that it can help people, if like I start to get weird about inviting, I go back to like the gratitude that I have for it, and then think about all the lives that it's changed, and how many people I've helped. And then I don't feel weird about it. I just think about that. But it's an authentic conversation. It just flows. It's like how you would talk to your best friend, how you would talk to somebody in person, and you don't feel weird about that. Like, it just is how it is. Granted, now how I would talk to my best friend, a lot of it comes off as baby talk. I realize I baby talk when I'm not even looking at him. I make baby noises now when I'm not even like paying attention. Anyways, but like for most people, it's just like, it'll just flow better. And I really like that. And Eden, will you kind of share that? And again, you want to make sure that you're not just like saying exactly the same thing, but using these scripts and these ideas as like baselines and making them your own. And yeah.
I will also tell you, the week prior to starting this, I was talking about it incessantly in my stories that I would end up in your inbox because I want to be social. Like, I'm gonna message you, like pre-warning. And so like people just kind of expected it also. That were watching my stories is where I started. But like, I think also when you're talking publicly, like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. I wanna be social in 2020. Like, I'm gonna message you. I'm gonna end up in your inbox. I wanna get to know you. I don't want you just to follow me and like us not to have any sort of connection. And that was the kind of stuff I was saying prior to like even doing that.
What I like about that too is that now that you've been doing it, do you have like a system? So you're like, okay, I've been talking to this person a week, so I can bring this, or like naturally it should come up. Like if you're like, what do you do? Somebody's naturally going to ask, what do you do? And then you're like, oh, I have this tool to offer you. And so it is a good system to set up and have in place. So you're like, okay, I have this free group for you to get value from. So you
also in my stories today, and I didn't know that this would be like such a big hit, but today I like putting the collagen in my coffee, and then I had written on the thing, I need to, or I have to order more collagen, shoot me a message if you want the link. Like, I didn't say like, this is what I use and if whatever, and I got like 4 messages being like, yeah, I want the link for the collagen. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just feel like when they connect with you more, then they want to ask you for those things. They want the links. They want to talk to you more about the things because you have a connection with them. And I actually bought Melanie Mitro's planner, Amber. I don't know if because you were talking about the pad class. I just got it. And like, that's what she was saying, like in the beginning of her planner. I've only read 2 pages. It's like a lot of info in the beginning, but she was talking about how people crave that connection. They want to know you on a personal level. They don't even care about anything else. So I feel like I wasn't doing that before. Like, just in that sense of like a authentic connection.
And one thing I think is important to remember that, oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. So the wellness group that you run, it's free for people that want to be coaches. Like, how many, I don't know, maybe you can say this in the chat, like how many people like sign up, or like, are they coaches, or?
Oh, so my wellness studio is just like for clients, well, and coaches, like, so anybody on their wellness journey. So like when I first started, Kate and Amanda had a wellness group, Self-Love and High Standards. And it's like essentially me. So one of Amanda's coaches and me vibed. And then we started our, what you consider like your wellness group, your challenge group together. And we just call it the Optimal Wellness Studio. And that's where we put like anybody who is on their wellness journey, a client, coach, whatever, with us for accountability and stuff like that. And where we add value and content. So I talk about it all the time on my social media about this studio and like the accountability and the community and everything, and that we're all doing these workouts and like, you know, everything that has to do with Beachbody. So this sneak peek is just going to be like, we're going to do an actual Zoom video of showing them like in the studio, the workouts, everything like that. So it's basically kind of like a script, but visual. And it's just like the scripts that you would send people like an email, or I would send people an email, but I'm just going to do it visually instead so they can actually see it.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought it was like a free group for people that want to be coaches, but that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's just like a sneak peek. Like, this is what it actually looks like.
Okay.
Right? So you can see more in depth about it.
And this is for your challenge group, not for coaching.
Yeah, that's for my challenge group. My coach one I'm going to do on Instagram.
Got it. Okay, now it's all making sense. I was like, this sounds really cool. I never thought about doing, because we've talked about doing like Snoop groups, and like we put together whole groups to like share about programs. But I like the idea of just being like, here's a sneak peek. Because like I've added someone before that really wanted to see in, you know, and like they really wanted to see what it looked like, so I added them and then deleted them. But I think it'd be really cool to do something like that. So that's a good idea.
Yeah, like a live script is kind of how we were thinking about it.
So Eden, my question for you though, are you still getting their email and like tracking or a way to like connect with them so you have a list? And I really want to point this out because a lot of times, like if you're not working from a list, Rowan wants to talk too. If you're not working from a list, like you don't have a business. So it's really important to have people's email address or a way of contacting them, because if Instagram went away or Facebook went away or something happened, it's important to still have a way to contact them.
Yeah, and as soon as I get them their email, I also say I'm going to add them to my free newsletter.
Yay, I like that too. And that's just another way of like connecting with them and adding value and inviting them. Because, and that's another thing of having like multiple sources of like inviting, because again, soft inviting, you can soft invite people like a newsletter by going live, IGTV, what else is there? What other ways? Like there's so many different ways of doing that. And then also like the hard invite of doing that. But I really like the connection part of it. And that's something I want to focus on a lot this year too. And not so much so wasting a bunch of time connecting with people, because I've done that. And I think you can get stuck in that rut of like wasting too much time, like connecting where you don't get to the invite. But if you're intentional about it and have that invite in the pocket, just since like there are so many people these days who get butthurt and be like, oh, this person was targeting me. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just changed my life. And I'm remembering this, like, and it literally when I invite, so I don't feel weird about it, I remember you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. You're not going to offend somebody who wants to change their life. So I really just want you guys to remember that when you go into inviting, like it's nothing you feel bad about. Like Beachbody's changing your life. It's giving you this amazing opportunity. And you should be really proud of that. And again, you're never going to offend somebody who is ready to like do this with you. But also people need to hear from you, and you need to invite them multiple times a lot of the time before they say yes. I think the statistic is like 9 or 10 times, which is why follow-ups are also very important too.
I would really love to have a call like specifically on follow-ups, because I have no problem inviting. I just get pretty disorganized with my follow-ups. So I would love to talk about that
next week.
Yeah, that would be great. And like I do not use Google Streak, and I am like not technologically savvy whatsoever. So any like other suggestions would be super cool. So I would love to do that.
I'll keep that in mind, because I know a lot of people like Google Streak is really efficient once you have it set up, but like getting it set up and everything can be.
I think the easiest thing about Google Streak that you'll like is that there's a stage column that tells you how long somebody's been sitting there. So literally, let's say you invited somebody and you want to follow up with them in 2 days, it'll tell you that they've been sitting in that stage of your streak for 2 days. So it's less like you go and you just check off the boxes. Let me go check on this person. I think that's what I like most about it.
Yeah, no, I like that too. But I also know that, yeah, it's just not for everyone. Sorry, this baby's literally like chewing on my thing, teething hardcore and pulling back my fingers, which is why I'm making a grimace. Teething baby's so fun. He doesn't have teeth yet, and this already hurts. Anyways, but yeah, we can totally do a call and follow-ups. I love that idea. And because there are so many different ways to do it, but it's a very important part of this process because the fortune is in the follow-up, especially this time of year too, remembering like the people that you've talked to last year, like may be ready to get started, all of those old customers and all of those things. So having a follow-up system is very crucial. So I'm happy to touch on that. Anybody else want to share anything about invites or anything?
It's a perfect follow-up to this call.
Oh my God.
For next week, or I don't know when we do it, because Amber did kind of one where she like showed us her Google streak, but it was not like, I'm not trying to be rude, Amber. It was just a little disorganized, and she said that too. She was like, it's not ready. So maybe like one where we can see exactly like how you like the process of what you would do, I guess.
I think Eden's is the best. Eden's the most organized person.
Eden, will you do a team call?
Yes.
Because I can't show mine. It will never make any sense to anybody. It only makes sense to my brain. And I've shared Brooke, whatever, who like, that's how I learned about it. It's Liptoff, whatever. And there's a 3-part, she's so like type A. She has this like whole series on it. And I put it in the new coach training, but I don't think anyone's really like taken advantage of that.
Yeah, I use Google Streak, so it'll be about like how I do it with Google Streak though.
Yeah, that's right. Like if you could just, maybe you could share your organized way of how you would do it or set up a new pipeline or something.
Yes.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, he is losing. I'm dealing really hardcore right now. So unless anybody else has anything they want to add.
I do. If you didn't know about the Melanie Mitra planner, or if you were skeptical about it, or you were interested in it and unsure if you should purchase it, I think it's freaking awesome. I'm not very into her like making chic happen, like that kind of tagline, but like all the information in there, it's just a social media planner too, but I think it's worth it. I'm pretty impressed.
You have it handy? I don't know if we could see like how big it is or what it looks like. Okay, so it's just paperback.
It's a 52-week planner, and in the beginning of it, she's got like tons of information, and then of course like go to this YouTube video, like she's got trainings and stuff, and like she makes you do all this work about your social media and stuff like this, but it's just a social media planner. So she's got like the month, which is just like your traditional month, and then each week you reflect on your growth. So it's like your post engagement, your new page likes, etc. for Facebook, Instagram, like your goals for your social media for the week, etc. Big ideas. And then you map out your social media for the week, Monday through Sunday, like what you want to post and why you want to post it. Kind of like the ideas that you might have in your brain. So you just put them on paper. Like that you want to maybe do something about food one day, or maybe you're marketing towards your challenge group or whatever habit. And it's 52 weeks. So that's why it's so fat, but that's what it does. It'll give you the month. Then it'll do each week you reflect on your growth through social media, plan out your social media. But in the beginning, there's tons of knowledge, which, I mean, it's like a lot. I've made it through 3 pages and I feel like my head's going to explode.
And it was like 30 something?
Yeah, it was on Amazon. It was like 30. I think it's one of those things like everybody's buying, so it's like cheaper than what it would be.
Yeah, on her podcast, she was like, I only want you guys to spend money on this if you're going to use it. Like, don't buy another thing that you just put on your shelf that you like are like, oh, this is going to help my business. She's like, it only helps you if you do it. So I think, I don't know, I might get one. It looks like it's good.
I feel like if you need planning or if like help with like figuring out engagement and stuff like that, then it's really cool. That's why I got it, because that's what I was interested in. I was like, I feel like I'm so scattered on social media, and I'm the person that shows up and is like, what am I going to post? And there's no like thought behind it.
Oh, I wasn't.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like I never know what to post ever. And like I used to post like once a week or like once every few weeks. And I made like a point to myself this week. I'm like, I'm going to post 7 days in a row, and I'm like doing pretty good with it. I just like don't have like any sort of aesthetic thing going on with my Instagram, and I never know like what to post because like I stay at home and like I don't have like a beautiful like shiny white house, and my big giant mirror recently fell and broke, so I'm like, what do? I don't know what to post ever. I think that would come in handy for me.
Yeah, she walks you through all that stuff, like how to figure out what to post about and like finding your brand and all the things. It's like a lot of knowledge and to break it down. And then she helps you like figure out how you craft your weeks and like how you should market towards whatever you're wanting to market. So I'm only 3 pages in and I'm impressed. I was like, it's probably going to be stuff I've heard before, but I'm like, ooh, okay.
One thing I want to add about inviting too, that just kind of gave me a light bulb moment, what Eden said, is like having a marketing plan, knowing what you're inviting for when you are inviting. So what day are you hosting your challenge group this month? What day are you doing a coach sneak peek, and inviting intentionally, like always be inviting to both. But make sure that you have a specific intention when you sit down to invite, whether it is specifically this week for your challenge group. And also like throw in some coach invites too for those people who you think would make great coaches or those that you've been forming and you think about. But just knowing what you're inviting for is really important. Oh yeah, we were going to go over the elite and premier thing, but we can always do that on a different call too, because I feel like that could be a whole different call actually. So maybe next week we can do follow-ups. We can do a week for streak, and then also explain elite, premier, and how you, if your goals aren't elite and premier this year, how you can help the team and your role in it, because it's really like a team goal. It's not just an I goal, it's like a we goal. So we can do a whole separate goal on explaining how to do that. Rowan has a lot to say, obviously, too. But if that sounds good, I think this call was a really good call. I'm sorry if I was somewhat scatterbrained, but I think overall it was good. And we can share more about different ways we're inviting and doing it. But remembering how numbers are really big and tracking what you're doing. But it is overall just like being intentional, sharing what you're doing, and remembering your social media is your storefront. So if you're inviting to, this is the one thing I meant to say earlier and got distracted. So social media is your storefront. So that's your post. So if you're talking about your challenge groups, when you're sending those invites, like you're backing up what you're saying with your post. So remembering that too, like if you're inviting to something, you better be talking about it on your stories and in your posts. So then people can go back and be like, oh, well, I saw her talking about that. I think that's important too. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope everybody has a lovely evening. I can't believe it's already 6 o'clock, but I think this is a pretty good call for the first call of the year and a decent turnout. We would like to see more people on these calls. And remember, like, this is a commitment to your business, to showing up. And I really appreciate it. I know Amber really appreciates it too. And let's just work on getting more people on these calls. Like if you have coaches, if you have a success partner on the team, like be like, hey, are you showing up for this call? Can you make this time? Even if you're calling in, even if you're listening in the shower, even if you're doing whatever you have to do to like listen, it is really appreciated. So thank you guys so much. Have a good night.